right, well, what's going on, everyone? We're pumped to dive into this one. This is actually kind of inspired by the talk KD and I did last week around, one of the topics, which is just, the human plus AI, right? And human and how these two fit together, how all of you can think about even future proofing yourself and your skills, etc. And so every week we kind of break down, every other week, different topics, and then we'll spend a little bit of time talking about some latest developments that, again, like why you need to make sure that you're coming back or telling your people to coming back is we're not just talking about the topics. We're going to try to give you all like the latest and greatest, right, in terms of like what's happening today, etc. So like, for example, like in the news, KD, and a lot of you, maybe some of you saw this, Chat GPT 4 and O stands for Omni, by the way, which I did not know as a part of this. Where basically it's like a lot of the stuff that you got for free, for paid, you now get for free and some. They're gonna have, I think, like they're gonna have the audio on desktop too, where the audio is on your phone. And again, I know that they got a lot of blowback from the Scarlett Johansson voice. I don't know how many people saw that, but they had a version of that for a little bit. So yeah, man, I mean, like, what do you think this means for folks? The fact that now, like, the free version, this is the free version. I can upload images. I can do a lot of the stuff that I could, for the paid version.
I mean, truthfully, what I'm hearing and seeing from people is pure overwhelm, man. It's like
Yeah, true
because
facts.
like it's like yes, it can, but people still hadn't leveraged the other version and the other version, and so like the new one gets dropped, and it's like it starts to almost feel like overwhelm. Whereas like, all right, well now what? There's a lot of amazing things that 4.0 does. Like, I mean, the voice, the live visuals it can use, getting it like, but it's a lot because every new release is something new, and so it's almost like you feel like a lot of people is like waiting for what's the next thing gonna be, what's the next thing gonna
Hmm.
be. But it's getting crazy now. This last one, I think I texted Jake the day it came out. I was like, bro, did you see this? So it's wild.
Yeah, I mean, and the key is, so another thing I want to call out is free users can now use custom GPTs. So this is another thing that people should think. There we go. Every assistant. My assistant's a dude, Lydia. So I don't think it's everyone's assistant's a female voice. I think people, they did it because of her, right? The Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, they were
Yeah,
like,
it was attached there, and I think that's also why they got extra blowback because what he didn't he ask if he could,
they asked. Yeah, and she
said
was like, no.
no, and so they just like changed a little something, and that was it, and it was like everyone could still tell. So yeah.
Yeah, she was not happy. But again, like some of these things that are cool, I mean, I want you to think about this, that you're going to be able to interact via voice. You're going to be able to interact. Another thing is this like idea of tables and charts, right? This is the next step of a lot of this analysis stuff. Is imagine I can upload a table, it'll start to make charts for me, like in real time. Like that's big. Like
Mhm.
that is like really, really big. If you can upload, I don't know if you've messed with it, KD. I've been doing a ton of Chat GPT stuff this week. You can now upload directly from your like OneDrive or Google Drive. Like it
Yep.
literally, you can click upload from computer. Um, and it's just like, again, it's just making this stuff easier and easier and easier. So now everyone can access the custom GPT store. That would be my homework for all of you. Go to the custom GPT store 100%. And that's the other cool part is with the custom GPTs that we also built. Now, literally, you can just like use them. You don't even have to pay for the free version, which is like
Mhm.
pretty badass. So go check those out as well. It's a part of it.
The stores are big there, and the limits are better now too. So I would just it's getting crazy. It's getting fun. The one that I'm most curious about, that I think is I don't know if red herring is the right word or like a smoking gun, is the live visual of where that goes, right? If you think about where, the Meta masks are going and the Apple Vision are going and all of that, it's like, how does that start to, where it made me go, man, is like, what was that movie, Wall-E or whatever, where everyone's got like the goggles, right? And they're just living,
Yeah,
and
it's like
then all
Ready Player One. It's got that vibe. There's a lot of movies that have like that type of vibe.
watching that was very interesting. Like, you could hold up your phone and like show something real and it would give you feedback on what it's seeing, right? It's watching you draw
That
and
was
then
like
giving
Google Glass was like V1 of that. Remember that? Remember Google, does anyone remember
it,
Google
it just
Glass,
wasn't,
like the
I
first
think it was
version?
good idea, bad time. It was the right idea, just wrong timing. I'm very interested to see where that goes, right? At what point do we have like a camera over our desk watching like what we're writing, what we're typing, and giving us live coaching and feedback on it? Like that's gonna be crazy, right? Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there will be a version of that, or we'll finally say like, okay, this is allowed, this is not allowed, as a part of it. So, all right, someone else tried another one of the AIs, so like it was a flop, and that's fine. That's what we're gonna have a lot of. You're gonna have a lot of like kissing frogs on this stuff, but you're gonna learn. I've been messing with Gemini a little bit. I've been trying to use some of. I tell you what, I started messing with this week, KD too. Is I downloaded for Microsoft 365. I downloaded Copilot to create PowerPoint slides. And so right now on Google Drive, you can't create full slides. It'll create like a slide for you. And it was okay. Like I would say like what I found with Copilot is if it's a basic ask, create me a deck that talks about this one topic,
Mhm.
crushes it. If it's like it wasn't good. I tried to get it to create a sales deck, like a sales deck that does this positioning, this product. It was like, but like um it's pretty cool. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. The what do you call it? But even like the concept, right? Like I don't need to make a PowerPoint deck. I can literally just tell it like this is what you're supposed to do. So I would go check that out. Just check out if you already have what do you call it? PowerPoint or Microsoft 365. It was like an extra $20 a month to turn it on. Um, I thought it was worth it personally. Worth checking out.
Nice.
All right, man. Let's get into it. AI replacing salespeople. What aspects do you think it will or won't replace? Like, I don't remember. Like, they framed it up as a debate, but it wasn't really. It was like kind of a
Yeah.
debate. But let's get into the main topic for today. There's a lot of shit happening. That's why you got to tune in every 2 weeks because every week we're going to tell you. You're like, oh wait, that happens, and you'll go try something new. And then you get to hear us talk about a topic as well. So, what do you feel like it will replace in the day to day? Like, what's kind of the no brainer, like next 6 months?
Okay. Next 6 months, yeah, because that's important, right? It's like the question and with a time frame.
Yeah.
Because I my vision of where this goes is I don't know if it's dire per se, but it's all of it. But if I look at the next 6 months, okay, data enrichment, 100%. Your people should not be looking for leads. They should not be researching accounts on their own. They should not so data enrichment, data scrubbing 100% should be getting done by AI. Proactive preparation, right? So right now, I'm working on to build like a workflow of like look at a rep's calendar, see the calls coming up and help build like the prep sheets for those things,
No
right?
brainer.
So preparation, I'll say preparation and POV, right? Like you built a really good GPT of like to help prep, right? It's like I want to prepare and I'm coming in with a point of view based off industry trends, company, looking up CEO interviews, like crafting all of that. So creating a POV, I think AI can start to do the little things that people are already doing, like meeting notes, CRM updates, right? Like all of that is something that just easily done now by AI. Your follow-up emails and proposals. So it's a lot of like, I'll say some of the aftermath things, the things you do before the call, the things that are supposed to happen during the call, and the things after. AI is not ready to do the call for you yet, but helping you prep for it, helping capture what's happening and help the follow up afterwards, I think are just the easiest places to go through. Kyle Norton has built one of the best, I'll say, like data processes for his team over at Owner that is heavily leveraging AI to do this stuff. So that's the next 6 months for me that I'm seeing is that. And then I'll throw in the coaching bucket. I actually do think in the next 6 months we'll get much better AI coaching for salespeople. Right now, I think a lot of it's a little bit janky or doesn't quite go deep enough in terms of what it's actually looking for. I think the next 6 months we actually get some pretty good based off what we saw from Omni alone of like, here's what I look for in a call, Jake. I think in the next 6 months we'll have versions going, all right, now Jake is coaching a
Yeah,
thousand
I've
calls
seen some stuff like that. Attention.tech and momentum. Like I, as the leader, can say, I want you to listen for these things and I can customize it. And then it will automatically update Salesforce like in those fields too, which
So
I think is
now you start thinking
phenomenal.
about like call scoring dashboards
Yeah.
of how was my demo performance this week? Where was my team missing on their scores and not hitting on their scores? Like that now gives additional context to us as leaders. What was like funny enough, this is even one of the simplest ones that still I haven't seen done well. What is actually the number one objection your team is getting, and can you prove it? Like,
No.
prove it. You know, like every rep says they're getting XYZ objection, but there's not a great place that captures that right now of like, this is the number one objection your team is facing, how many calls it's showing up on, how your best handle it, and what the pass through rate is on that. That's where I think some of those call coaching type things work.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, this is a good segue. So we got a question on LinkedIn from, let's see, who is it from? Appreciate you. I'm gonna guess, and I'm gonna say Yaye. Yaye. He's from the Canary Islands in Spain. That's pretty badass. Like I kind of want, like that's where I want to be from, you know. And he said, "What is going to be uniquely human in sales to ensure longevity?" So in the next few months, in the next few months, you know what you're talking about, data logging, behind the scenes, somewhat surfacing insights, right? That again, a human would have had to listen to the call and surface the insights. So you know, it's not like that's not replacing part of what somebody would do, but are there skills? And now maybe I'll tell you to, now maybe I'll ask you to zoom out and I'll give my take too. Let's fast forward 2 years, okay? And we can't predict the future, but if I said fast forward 2 years, what are the skill sets that you are, and again, I'll give you a confidence interval, okay? That you are, you know, 75% confident, so still pretty confident, will be still critical for salespeople in 2 years.
So critical. One, I actually will say tooling, right? Like actually knowing how to leverage these tools, right? Because
Yeah, we'll still
some
be a lot of like early adopters. We'll still be early in the process. Yeah.
in 2 years, like y'all, like because this also, you know, I'll say there's two parts to this question. What can be possible in 2 years, and how many people are actually doing it in 2 years, or
Yeah,
actually
exactly. There you go. Yep. Yep.
to me as well. So one, knowing how to connect the dots, I will say this is sellers becoming more system-based thinkers, more if-then thinkers, more connecting the dots thinkers, right? How to craft powerful prompting is in 2 years, it's going to prompt itself. So I actually am not too sure on that one there. But funny enough, the biggest skill that a seller I think actually provides into this is the buying insights, how this tool is bought, right? We can tell it all we want on how we want it to help us sell, but if it doesn't understand how people buy your product, buy that process, you can't build the right workflows. So I think that buyer insight is actually going to be a very, very big skill. And the reps that can, I'll say, not quantify that, I guess document that or make that qualitative is going to be massive. So I'd say those are probably some of the really key skills: system-based, process-based thinking, buyer understanding, like how people buy the tool for sure, and then be able to connect the tools, right? Like, you know, Jake, you and I talked about this months ago. Like, all right, I want to connect this tool, data enrichment, to this tool, AI video, to this tool, right? AI email, to this tool. Like that connecting is going to be a skill for sellers for sure.
Yeah. I think the one I'll add to this too is look with ChatGPT today, it is very, very good, or Gemini, you know, in Claude, whatever. They're very good at like pulling out very specific industry insights, right? To say, look, for a VP of operations in fintech, here are like the top 3 trends that would be relevant to what you sell. And again, 98% of people aren't even pulling that out. But what I would say is if you can't add value to the equation, if your role as a salesperson, I'll put it in air quotes here, if your role as a salesperson is to give information that is in a relatively generic format and not customized to, again, like, I mean, the amount of demos, KD, you hear it too. You know, I went off on this. I'm like, why are we asking the discovery? If you're just going to do a generic demo, there is absolutely no point in running a discovery call. There's none. Just do the demo. What's the point in asking the discovery if you're not? So I think, KD, like salespeople are going to be able to have to make the dots connected so specifically to add value, or people are not going to want to interact with humans. Like especially salespeople, right? That if you can't connect the dots, you can't make me smarter. Why am I talking to you? I can watch a demo online. And again, pretty soon I'll be able to customize that demo. I'll be able to type in, just like the co-pilot, I'll be able to type into your demo, hey, customize this for me like I was a CFO. And it will reorchestrate the video for me. And I think that's 2 years. I think that type of stuff's 2 years in a way. And so I think if you're a seller right now, you need to become an expert at being a problem solver and really making sure you're finding industries that you care about and you want to go deep, right? Because keep in mind, salespeople used to stay at jobs. This is just the last 15 years or so. They stayed at jobs for many years, so they became an industry expert. They were trusted in the industry. So if you want to hop jobs every year, I got no problem with that, but you better become an industry expert. Because if you're not an industry expert, right, if you're just an expert at relationship building, less people are looking for that part of sales. And so that would be my advice, is not, you don't have to stay at the same company for 20 years. I don't really care about that. But I don't think you're going to be, relevant as a salesperson if when I get on the phone with you, you're not adding value.
And that is, to me, actually one of the biggest risks in this, is if reps are dependent on AI, how do they actually provide that value? It's, to me, this is the biggest double-edged sword in all of this. You know, I've talked about this before, like why I love ChatGPT for the manual nature of the active learning, where you had to fill it out, you had to answer the question, so it made it active versus passive learning. If I'm not doing the research, if I'm not researching the trends, if I'm not pulling insights from other competitors, if I'm not the one that listened to the CEO's podcast, if I'm not the one that read the 10K, because all that happened with AI, where do I provide? Is the biggest double-edged sword in this, to me, is when it is passive, I'll say, receiving of information. Where does the rep provide the actual value in it? Or this could be a very interesting take, is it actually simplifying the POV? Whereas, like, this was the grand, how do I make that digestible to the buyer? How do I make that more bite-sized? How do I make sure that that's there? But one, I'll say within a year and a half at most, there's going to be tools out there that let me as a buyer go in, describe, like, my pain points, what I'm struggling with, and it crafts a perfectly live demo that walks me through what that is. That's going to happen. 100% that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where I think you just have to be prepared. Like, that's the other part, is marketing. I was just talking about this the other day. I'm like, marketing has got to realize, like, it's going to be your job to convert more customers than ever before. I think it's tomorrow I got a post going out about these McKinsey stats where they said, I think it's like 13% of buyers, this is from McKinsey, said they prefer either 100% digital or 100% remote digital, interaction sale with a salesperson, and they would buy $1 million product. So they buy it 100% digitally, or with a remote sales interaction, no face-to-face, over $1 million, right? At 50,000 to 500,000, it was 35%. And this is like from 2022, I think.
So the last point I'll make here, and as what sellers maybe, I actually think sellers have to be much better at, I'll say, the implementation process. It's one thing to buy the product. It's another thing to get it up and running and implemented. And I almost wonder if that is where the real shift occurs, is the buying is less and less the seller's job. It's the actual implementation and execution of the tool that becomes a seller's job, is the internal selling of it.
Change management, right? That is something that is really difficult to customize. That's a great call out. That's a great,
that to me is harder to do than selling something via AI. I actually think this is where things move, is as sellers. Now your POV is, how do you get this rolled out? How do you actually get that change? How do you get people bought in internally, right? That's far, people buy tools, you see this more than I do. People buy shit all the time. They bought it and they never properly implement it and execute it and get the value out of it. That's actually where the value, I think, shifts in this.
That
No
is
longer buying.
100% right. That is 1,000%, because what also is happening, KD, is when, again, an innovative seller, we call it, there's vetted, educated, cold, and self-service type of buyers today. Most B2B organizations start everyone off as cold. Everyone starts off here, they go through this linear process. When I come in vetted, and we define vetted as one of 5 criteria, something, I already use your competition. I already understand price. I've talked to maybe somebody in my network about it already. I put a post up, I think this morning or yesterday, which is like an email template you can send to someone to understand where they are. If I come in vetted, KD, that's all I want to talk about is implementation, right? If I come in, I'm like, I've already done it. I know the homework. I know the space. This will be the second time I've used XYZ sales engagement platform. I need to start at step 5. Your very first call should have a salesperson and a customer success person on it. Very first call.
Yes.
And I think that these two things are intertwined. So it's not just, and again, maybe this is a new take on it, even me just thinking out loud. It's not just the skills a salesperson, but it's the skills a sales organization is going to have to adapt to in terms of not just how they're training people, but how they're flowing people through the process as a part of this.
Actually, if you really break this down, right, to change, right, sales and leadership to me are the exact same things. They just don't get applied the same way. To change a job of a leader and a job of a seller is to change minds, to change behaviors, to change results. That is what selling is. You have to change someone's mind to change their behavior, new tool to change the result they're looking for. Leadership, we got to change people's minds to change their behaviors to get the results. It's just where you apply it. Now I think the very skills that have made us great sellers should make us better change managers, implementers of the tools that we are doing, because we can sell internally. That's where I think what saves some of us in this world is if we can make that shift.
And again, it's interesting, Katie. God, it's like I look back in my sales career and just how fortunate I was. I came from a world where I had to do it all, right? I had to book my own meetings, right? And then therefore I gave a shit about the sales process. And so then, there was no handoff, it's me. And then I had to manage that account. And so because I had that sales full cycle, to me, talking about the implementation and onboarding is just like, it's second nature. And whenever we train teams, et cetera, it's like, guys, look, you have to not just help them to understand the differentiation, the ROI, you have to explain to how they're going to go live. If you can't tell them how they're going to, like, that, the amount of deals you lose every day, my friends, every day to this, a room that you're not in, someone goes, hey, who's going to own this? And they go, not me. Oh, and then they call you back. Oh, Jake, this is really cool. We're interested. Can we pick this up in Q1? Got a lot of competing priorities right now. So I think that that's a good call. If you want to not be replaced, you better know how to implement and do the change management for your product like an expert.
And I want to be I'm gonna preface this with, I love the role I'm talking about right now. I love everybody in this role, but the role that I think really came up in SaaS that I think broke a lot of things was the sales engineer. And this is not a
joke, man. It's for like basic ass product. People have a sales engineer. You're like,
any sales engineer
product? I figured it out in 15 seconds.
Any sales engineer on here, I want to be very, very clear. It's not a knock to you.
Yeah, much love.
Love you, right? But y'all should be the sellers. I don't know why we had to roll out a sales engineer and a seller. When did knowing your product inside and out? That's what we were supposed to be good at as sellers too, not become the salesperson's responsibility. That role there. And then what did we do? We took away the sales engineering part. Oh, and we took away the prospecting part. So wait a minute, you don't know how to prospect, cold call, write good cold emails, do social. You don't know your product inside and out and know how to explain it and know how to implement it. Where do we go? Right. And so I think Lydia made a good comment here. If you believe that human-centric customer interaction is essential, then you have to believe that AI is an assistant, not a replacement. This is where I will say I'm on the dark side of selling. I don't know that I believe human-centric customer interaction is what a buyer needs and or wants. I don't believe that.
At certain places, maybe, but other buyers, no chance. Right. And I think you got to define the quality of the interaction is really all that matters. If it's your basic sales interaction, no. But again, if you are adding value and you're shepherding, hey, here are the 3 or 4 like pitfalls. It's, that you can shepherd them through. Sure, a computer can say 1, 2, 3. Oh, for you guys, it's this wrinkle. It's this. we're still 5 to 10 years from that. And then it's that nuance. And if you can't add the nuance and you're giving platitudes, our customer success team is world class.
Ooh,
Yes,
ooh, we just
perfect
got the
timing.
confetti there too. Like,
I think it's that one. I think it's
all
that
right.
one.
Oh, there we go. Like, so that's where I think, and like Leo says, like there's always going to be a niche that wants a human interaction, right? Always. There's always like there's
Sure.
still niches for everything now. I still know Amish people. Like there's people riding horses. Like there's always a niche, right? But it's saying like where are we focused and what is the value? What is the
Yeah.
value we
What is
actually
the value? That's what we're going to leave you all on. All right. Is I want you to take a look at your job. Okay. Also, make sure you guys have turned on memory. You guys haven't. I've been messing with memory. I got to tell you though, I'm also memory is almost memorizing too much. I'm having to like delete stuff. I'm like, no, no, no. That was like a one-off search. Like, don't do that. So memory, just beware as a part of that. Hey, if you're somebody who's looking to get more up to speed on this, tune in every single week. We're going to be dropping what's the new of this stuff. Check out the custom GPTs. If you sign up now, we've got V2 of these coming out, saving people a ridiculous amount of time. And, come check out what we're doing at Innovative Seller Community as well. So lots of things going on. It's exciting. Guys, it is what it is. You got to embrace this stuff. So that's why you tune in every 2 weeks. We're going to help you get the cheat code to doing some of that. So, KD, appreciate you, man. Enjoy Boca. Let's hit the links on Sunday, brother.
Gotcha, my dude.
See ya.
Later, y'all.